So, this is my talk, Open Source, Self-Care and Supporting Others. My name's Emma Maria, and this is my slide. So basically, why am I doing this talk? I've been contributing to Drupal for 4 years now, just over 4 years, and I've basically tried every form of contribution there is. I've sort of like bounced from place to place, tried lots of things, helped lots of people out. So I've had quite a lot of experiences. I've done some things very wrong. Getting into contribution was really hard for me. I found it very hard to get going. I've done some things right, and also I've spoken at lots of events all over the world and spoken to lots of beginner contributors and experienced contributors who have told me all of their lovely stories as well. So I've collected a lot of stuff and a lot of experiences, and at the moment I'm a community working group member, and the community working group basically helps maintain the health and happiness of the Drupal community. We also deal with conflict management, conflicts, mediation, code of conduct, like they're not so nice things, but we're basically here to make sure that you're all happy and healthy and contributing together in a good way. So I've got lots of experiences from that as well. A year ago, I was asked by the Drupal Association to create a new track for DrupalCon. And at first it was the track where everything else goes. And I was like, need to think a bit more about this. So I came up with the Being Human track, and it's basically talks where people can talk about individual health, community health, all the good things about humans. And session submissions ended the other day, so I've had a pretty hectic week this week doing things for the community. And there are some sessions where I need people to volunteer and participate in, and there are like mental health kind of things like imposter syndrome and burnout and things like that. So if anyone wants to help out on panels and just come share their experiences at DrupalCon, please do talk to me. And if you want to tweet me or follow me on Twitter, it's mbobmaria. I talk a lot about mental health, I talk a lot about my mental health, and animal gifts and things like that. So it's a big mixture. I like animals, if you can't tell. So part one of this talk is all about looking after yourself. And the first section is staying afloat. And this is basically, you want to do all the things, all of your hobbies, keep on going with life, not overdoing it, all those things. You want to carry on, be happy, be healthy. And it's easy to do too much, get too invested, use too much time, neglect other things in your life. And it's all about balance and all about keeping afloat. So this section is about how to do that. So you need to continually ask yourself when you're taking on extra things in your life, how much time can I actually spare? Because we've all got other things. We've got family, friends, pets. We want to look after our own health. We want to exercise, get enough sleep, do all our other hobbies that we do. And also, open source contribution has a lot of responsibilities. You may be needed certain times or certain times a year or certain like meetings and things. So people are maybe dependent on you. You might need to travel a lot. I didn't quite realize how much I would have to travel and how sick I would get of travel after like being, I need to go to this event and contribute. I need to go see these people. And it's all about balance. And I spoke to someone a while back who said, I can only contribute once a year, and I feel terrible about that. And I'm like, but do you like doing it? And do you make a difference on that one day a year? And they're like, yes. And I was like, that's all that matters. It's you're enjoying it, and yeah, if you're able to do it and you can do it, that's all that matters. And then just do as much as you can. Don't feel guilty, and don't do too much either. Do ask your family and your friends, like, hey, is this too much? Because I've done that. I've turned around and been like, yeah, I forgot what hobbies are and things like that. So I've had to dial it back a lot lately. So just think how much time I can spare and keep assessing that as you go along, as you do more and more. And if you start anything new, start super small. People come to the community with this huge idea like, I'm going to change the theme system, I'm going to write this giant module, I'm going to make everything better for everyone. And it's like, that is a huge thing to do. You need to come in, and it's basically like onboarding onto a new job. You need to get to know the people, how people work, what things are, where things live. Like it's just start really, really small. Like you can have all of the ideas, you can put all of your ideas out there, that's great. But start really small in the actual work that you do, and then just build up. And then like building blocks, you can be like, well, a month later I'll be doing 5 of these tasks, and then just build on it. Value the small things. And one of the biggest tips of this talk is work on things that you find rewarding. So if there's a project you want to work on, people you want to help out, an event you want to help out to organize, a module you want to write, like anything that you are like, I can contribute in this way, it's the best way I can do it, and I really want to help, just do it. That's the thing you should be looking for and working on. I think the next slide. Yes, and the way you're going to do that is you need to get to know the community. You may have in mind someone or people who are working on the thing or in a team for the thing that you want to work on. So go talk to those people. And if you don't know them, or you're a bit like, oh, I can't approach these people. I was like that in the beginning. I was just like, no, these people are professionals and I'm just Emma. So find someone you know and be like, who does contribution or the thing that you want to do, and be like, hey, I really want to get into this, can you help me? And that's basically how I started, like eventually got going. Someone was like, you're going to do this and it's going to be great. You've been going on about it for ages. We're going to put you with these people and it'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So yes, and talk to the people you look up to, talk to the people you aspire to, find role models, because it's really, really rewarding, and people need help all the time. And you might not look like it, but people have so much work on their plate, and people always need help, so offer it. And co-work and co-lead on projects. So I see lots of maintainers or lots of people who they're working on something on their own, and it's a huge task, or it ends up being a huge task, or they're not getting enough help. Say like a maintainer is like, oh, I haven't got anyone working on my project. It's really hard sometimes to get people to contribute. Get a co-maintainer or a deputy maintainer, like be in it with someone together and equally know all of the knowledge. So you're sharing the burden, and if one of you needs to step away, or one of you doesn't want to do open source tomorrow, that other person is completely onboarded with it, and they're your like best friend, your buddy, they're in it together with you. So I really recommend this. I've seen lots of maintainers completely burn out, and it affects them really badly, and it affects the project really badly, or the event. Like organizers just be like, I can't do this next year, and then what's going to happen? Like the event you need to keep enough people on your teams and working alongside you. And it's also nice to work with other people than just working on your own. A top tip, join a team. So this slide, the other day when I rehearsed this, I burst into tears, because the best thing I've done in the Drupal community is join a team. And 2 years before, I think it was 2-3 years before Drupal 8 came out, I became part of the Twig initiative. I didn't speak on calls for about 6 months because I was terrified, and I was like, I have nothing to say. I'm giving you tips on how to know what to say later, but I was like, I have nothing to say, I have nothing to contribute. And then I eventually said hi, and then eventually got like proper into it, and then we're like family now. We've been through all of the bad things, all of the good things. We got together to work on stuff. We achieved so many things. It was really hard. We had lots of arguments. Like, it's just like family, basically, where you fight, you get on, and fight, you get on. And I adore the people in the Twig initiative. It was the best thing I've ever done. We go on holiday now. We have lots of fun now the work's all done. But it's one of the best things I've ever done, is join a team and really get to know them and really work really closely together. And put together a support network. So there's a few people in this room when I'm having a really tough time and I'm like, I can't do this. Like the beginning of this week, I was like, I can't do this. I can't stand on stage and talk about this stuff. It's just, yeah. So I message people and be like, help, the world's ending. And they will message back. They're over there. You can see I'm trying not to look at them. And I'll message back and be like, everything's going to be fine. You'll get through this. It's okay. It's normal, like, it's fine. And I'll be like, okay. And from my last talk, I suggested a big community-wide initiative, like a buddy system. So I have this in my company where I have someone who I don't directly work with, but they are in my company, and I can call on them and be like, hey, I'm having troubles with this, or with communicating with this person, or there's just like, I'm not having the best time at the moment. And they help me out, because they're just like a third person who's not directly in it. So if we, in the community, if each of us had someone where we could be like, who will keep tabs on you and be like, hey, how's it going? Because sometimes you don't realize quite how much you're doing, and quite how swamped you are, and quite how overwhelmed you are, and you're doing too much, you don't realize. So if someone points out like, hey, be okay, you can slow down a little bit, you're doing really great, that would be benefit the whole community, because a lot of us think we're not doing enough when we're doing a lot. So have a support network. And research roles and responsibilities before you accept them. There's a lot of roles and responsibilities you can take part in, like obviously event organization, like helping to organize event there's a lot of work involved. You don't quite know it at the beginning, so talk to other event organizers. So my example was, I became a maintainer, I can't remember when, a couple of years ago. I'm going to say a couple of years for everything. And basically, people suggest you to be a maintainer on the most part. They're like, okay, that person has been doing that kind of thing for a while. They probably should be in charge of this thing so they can make decisions for the project, like officially. And I was like, whoa, oh my gosh, okay, I'll be a maintainer because it's it's one of those like, I have to say yes. But I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't realize I was doing the role at the time, and I was just like, this is scary. This is very scary when I accepted. And I had other people who also didn't know what a maintainer was being like, what's your plan? And I'm like, I don't have a plan. I'm just gonna carry on and it'll be fine. And it was fine. That's all I needed to do. And all I also needed to do was just talk to other maintainers and be like, what's up with this? Okay, what? And they're just like, just carry on. You're doing a good job. You're looking after the project. You're getting people involved. And I'm like, oh, phew. But yeah, it was a little bit scary at the beginning. So find out what's actually expected of you, the time you need to give, the energy, if you needed for particular times for meetings or commitments, just find out that stuff and see if you're able to do it as well, because you don't want to let anyone down, you don't want to feel guilty, and you don't want to take on too much, basically. And be aware of your workload. I'm super guilty of this. I've seen some other people who are, where you're like, I'm going to take on this little thing over here and help with this thing over here and help that person and help this. And then it all ends up colliding and one go, like everything's asked of you, like deliver the goods all at the same time. And you're like, oh, this is a lot of work. Like it piles up really easily. So just be aware of how many things that you are doing at once, basically. But we all make mistakes, we all do this, and we just learn for next time, basically. And learn to say no and feel okay about it. So I was taught this last year after I said at the beginning of a talk that I do this, and this. And everyone was like, how? My only feedback, my first piece of feedback in the questions was like, how do you do all this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. So everyone was like, you need to say no sometimes, and it's fine. Saying no and explaining that you've got too much on, or you don't feel like you're the right person, or for whatever reason, if you explain it in a super nice way, people will be okay with it. Like, you don't have to accept everyone's help. It's really nice to please people, and you feel good about it if you're helping people. But if you've got so much on that you will let them down or you won't be able to do it, you will feel terrible, they will feel terrible, and you could mess something up for someone, basically. I had to cancel a talk once because I was moving country and moving jobs, and I thought I would go speak somewhere, and I was like, this is a terrible idea. Should have said no. I should have been like, oh, you asked me to speak, that was fine, but I couldn't do it. But yeah, so I let them down, and I've learned hugely from that point. Just say no and just be fine with it. You don't have to say yes all the time. And help yourself before helping others. So my physiotherapist taught me this because I get a lot of chronic pain when I get super stressed and I'm helping other people all of the time and I'm not focusing on myself at all. So make sure that you're healthy and you're happy and you're all good before you throw all your energy and effort onto, into something else or for someone else when you're not doing so good. So it's like the oxygen mask thing on the plane, bit of a morbid example, but you make sure you're good and then you help other people. And do not ignore burnout. I have seen so many wonderful people in the community work on really big, important things by themselves, and they say, oh, I'm burning out, I've burnt out, I'm going to burn out. And if someone says that they're going to burn out, you need to tell them, like, this is alarm bells, because they probably won't achieve the thing that they are setting out to do. They will just plow into the ground, basically. They probably won't make it. They will get burnt out, and the amount of time it takes to recover from being really exhausted and really tired and really fed up with what you're doing and really cranky with people, it takes so much time to get over it, and people don't come back. They're just like, I'm done. This is... yeah, so do not ignore burnout. It's just, there's so many people who just like, oh, it's going to happen, it's fine. It's like, no, it's not good, it's not a good thing. And keep asking yourself how you're feeling. So in the CWG, we have to deal with, in the community working group, we have to deal with lots of big decisions sometimes, and we are sat there and we're like, okay, so this is something for the whole community, the whole big worldwide community, and we need to make a decision that keeps everyone happy. And we're like, yeah, that's really hard to do, because the people who aren't happy will be the ones who tell you they're not happy, and then you think they're the majority when they're not. They may be like 1% out of 100, yes, 100% of the people who, and then you're like, oh, we need to improve this. It's like, no, you don't. Just accept that 1% aren't happy, and 99% people are just like, yeah, it's fine. And they probably would be like, yeah, it's cool. So we have, for these situations, I think the chair told us there's a concept called being above and being below the line. And if on a day, being below the line is basically you feel really emotionally involved, you're upset, you're angry with whatever it is, or the person, you're upset, you're angry, you're putting all of your emotion into what you're trying to figure out, and that's not going to help anyone or yourself. So you need to step away from it and just accept that you're having a really crappy day and you're not going to be helpful to anyone. But if you're above the line, you're like emotionally detached, you can see things clearly, you're like, this is the road forward, we're going to do this, and it'll be great. So I think about this a lot, especially because I do loads of human things, and I consider this all the time, and I've been telling everyone this concept because it helps me so much. And have a plan in case everything goes wrong, just in case for some reason you can't contribute or you can't do your hobbies or whatever tomorrow, but you've taken on responsibilities, or you've been working on this thing for ages that people are getting really excited about, or there's an event happening. If you had to stop tomorrow, what would you do? How would you offload your work and responsibilities? So this is what the next section is for. This is the end of staying afloat and going into self-care mode. Okay, it's good, it animated. Very proud of my animation. So you need to keep asking yourself, are you still motivated? So at the beginning I said, do things that are rewarding you. This is the time where you check in and be like, am I still doing this for some kind of positive reason for myself? Because when it starts just being for other people and not anything that you're like feeling excited or a sense of achievement, it's gonna take a toll on you eventually. You're just gonna be like a little bit fed up, or a little bit like, oh, I have to keep doing this, and I have to I wish I was doing something else, or it's just draining. So just keep asking yourself, are you still motivated and excited by things you're doing? And if you're not, maybe try something new. That's basically what I have done over the past 4 years. I've sort of migrated along, started with code contribution, and then started just reviewing code, and then maintaining the issue queue. So I wasn't even touching code at that point. I was just helping move things around. And then I was like, issue queue me, I'm gonna go work on human stuff. So I've just sort of hopped around, and it's been quite nice. And I will go back to code contribution at some point. I'm not quite there yet, but I will probably go back and shift around and just be the most excited and happy and motivated at what you're doing, because it makes a difference to everyone else and the team that you're in. And lend out your responsibilities. So instead of running away or going away, never coming back or coming back later, let the people know that you're like, I need to go away for X amount of time, I'll be back in X amount of time. Yeah. How can we cover these things? And if you already have your buddies or your co-maintainers, or you're in a team and everyone knows what you're doing and everyone's doing, then that's quite easy to offload. Other people will be able to take up the slack. Open source still carries on without you. It might not go the way you want it sometimes, like when you go away and come back, but it will still carry on. Things will go well. Or you can focus on something completely different. So going on with the rewarding thing, but someone gave me feedback after I gave a talk about embracing being new at something and really enjoying the learning process and the quick wins and the really quick achievements, and I learned something brand new today that I didn't know, and it was very easy and quick to learn. Have a short break from something, even if it's half a day. Say you're a back-end developer. Go work on a front-end task for a couple of hours, or ask a front-ender, I've always wanted to know about this, can you tell me? And then you'll quickly pick up something, and it's like a break from the other stuff that you're doing all the time. And yeah, someone gave me that piece of advice, and I was like, I've never thought about this. So it's nice, just do something else for a little bit, and come back to the things. You may feel a bit more refreshed. And don't say yes to any more things. It's very easy to be like, oh, there's this new cool shiny thing, I'm just gonna go do that for a while, and be like, oh, the other stuff, I forgot about the other stuff. So yeah, always just stop. If you just stop what you're doing and don't take anything else on. If you really, really need a break, just stop. And talk to your support network. This is the time, if you haven't said anything to anyone and you know you're feeling a bit like tired, worn down, fed up, having like, I don't really want to do these things anymore, like I need a break and then I'll feel better, talk to someone, just tell someone. Even like, it doesn't have to be the people we're working with in case you feel bad for telling them, hey, I need to jump ship or whatever, but talk to someone and get their advice on it. It's not good bottling anything up. We've seen lots of people like very unhappy and they haven't said anything to anyone, and then you get into sticky situations, you get quite cranky. We've seen lots of cranky people and we're like, it'll be fine, stop being mean. So yeah, just talk to someone you have in your support network, and retreat to a safe place. So last year, I was getting, or the year before, it's 2 years, I keep saying 2 years ago, I was getting a lot of interesting kind of critical feedback in the issue queue when I was being like fully into being maintainer, and I was just devastated. I was like, I can't handle this. This is way too much for me right now. And recently people have been on Twitter, like people in the Drupal community on Twitter getting really upset and overwhelmed. And it's like, don't go to those places. Go to your safe space. Go to where people will support you and let you be yourself, and you can regroup and you can refresh. So stay out of the place that is making you unhappy, and don't like interact with people who are making you unhappy. Just sort of step away from it and refresh. And take a break completely if you want. There's a lot of stigma in the Drupal community where someone wants to move away from Drupal or do something else, or they do get a bit angry and leave. And it's like this big thing, and we should be allowed to take breaks and come back and it'll be fine. Humans like to relax too. We should all just be okay with it and just be like, hey, can't do this thing at the moment. I'll come back in a year or like in a few months or whatever. And I also have a note saying, Emma, you need to go on holiday. So after this, I'll be like taking some time off. The next section is the demons section. I like my ghost. Let me do it again. Oh no, did he do it? Oh, never mind. So the first big demon that I see in the community is being the hero. You're like, I'm going to fix this for everyone. I'm going to take this giant whatever and I'm going to build it or make it, or it's going to be my thing. And I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to work on it, it's going to be my thing, no one else can contribute because it's mine, and I'm going to save the day, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be wonderful. And they just end up burnt out and exhausted and cranky, and it's not good. It's not good. By all means, be a group of heroes together and work on something, because we all need to share the work in open source anyway, and it's just a lot more healthy. I've seen so many people are like, I'm going to do this, and it's like, no, we're all going to do this. You don't see how it goes. We'll see how you fare, and it never ends well. So don't be the hero. The next one is imposter syndrome. This is the fun one that I have all the time. I have it right now. So for DrupalCon Dublin, as a track chair, I was like, I want sessions on imposter syndrome because we need to get to the bottom of this. Like, I'm just, every time I go on stage, every time I'm in some responsibility, I'm like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this. And like, it took me a year to be like, I feel like I can contribute and be part of this community. Like, I was like, there's too many great people here. You're all great. So I was like, for Dublin, we're going to have sessions. So we had a theory session on imposter syndrome by Jessica Rose, who's outside of our community and the best human being. She's an amazing community advocate, understands humans, supports humans all the time. She's incredible, and I'll link all of the stuff at the end. But basically, the two things that I came away with and the audience came away with was imposter syndrome happens to everyone at some point for something. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm not alone with this. It's natural. It's a thing. It will just be there waiting for me at some point, and it's fine. It's a natural thing that everyone has for whatever it could be. Like, we might not have the same imposter syndrome, but you will probably have imposter syndrome. And also, if you do have imposter syndrome about something, you'll probably undersell yourself. You'll be like, yeah, I can't do this, yeah, whatever. But if you can push past that and be like, I will do this thing anyway, even though I probably won't be very good at it, you'll probably put like so much effort into it and do an amazing job and probably overachieve and probably achieve more than someone who doesn't have imposter syndrome. So it's like, it's not so bad. There's a positive side to this. But Jessica Rose's talk, she can sell it a lot better than me. But I came out of it going, whoa, this changes everything. So please do listen to it. And we also have sessions at DrupalCon called Imposter Monologues, where people who you don't think would have imposter syndrome talk about their imposter syndrome, and it was just like an emotional, it was incredible. I took part in the first one, and I was like, I have imposter syndrome standing here next to these people because I look up to them, so I'm just having this imposter syndrome like chain loop, and I'm just gonna, it was amazing. So please do listen to those sessions if you need a boost, if you need to be like, you know what, I need to be reminded that everyone goes through this stuff. And the session will be happening at Vienna. I'm demanding it. Like, we haven't selected sessions yet. But if you want to take part, please do message me. And I will mention the resources at the end. So the next demon is the one who says to you, your opinions don't matter. Just don't bother. Just don't bother voicing anything. Like, that person clearly knows what they're talking about. It's fine. Go with what they say. Your opinion matters. There's been so many instances where a bunch of, like, say, well-known, very loud, opinionated people in a good way have been saying all their stuff, like, we're going to do it like this, it's going to happen like this. And we're all like, yeah, that sounds really good. And then a brand new face or someone on the sidelines will pop in and be like, hey, have you thought about this? And we're like, no, we didn't. That's going to save us so much time, or we're doing it completely wrong. And it happens all of the time, especially in code contribution, where you kind of have this, you know the way you would do it, but you wouldn't necessarily know the best way, potentially. Like, we had that with the Twig initiative, and we just got more and more new opinions in. We were like, we want all the opinions, please, and it was incredible. So get your opinions in there. If someone says, hey, I don't want your opinion, tell them to not say that in a nice way. Your opinions are needed. Other people will step in and be like, hey, listen to the person, they've got a good idea. So yes, the community needs fresh views, fresh opinions, fresh people. We really need your help. And this demon, I had this demon the other day. So you're not, well, nearly every day, like, you are not doing enough. Well, yes, you are. And there's two possible causes for why you think this. So you've either taken on way too much and you're not actually able to do enough for each of those tasks. So maybe you actually are not doing enough, but if you cut down your workload, you'd be doing enough. So it is kind of true, but like, you've got to consider, like, maybe it's because I've taken on too much. Or maybe no one has just given you any feedback lately and you've been doing an incredible job. You've probably been doing too much and no one said anything. So do check in with your peers, with your team, with your buddies, with your person who keeps tabs on you and be like, hey, am I doing enough? And they'll probably be like, yeah, you are. Yeah, we're all very hard working in this community. So then you can be like, okay, I'm doing all right. Okay, but yes, this one's tricky. I don't like this one. Oh yay, at the end. Okay, not the end of the talk. We're in part 2. This is all about looking after other people in the community or wherever. So, facts about humans. These are things I've learned recently or over time that they're just facts. So, you can never, ever, ever, ever make everyone happy. So this goes along with what I said earlier. You just accept, can't make everyone happy. Move on. Make the majority happy by all means, but you can't make everyone happy. And this has changed everything for me. Like I learned this year, and I was like, oh, okay, I won't be like awake at night being like, how do I make everyone, how do I fix, yeah, it's fine. Just move on. You can't make everyone happy. Next fact is others will think differently to you, and this is a good thing. Some people will get upset that maybe someone is going to have a better idea than them, or get in their way or whatever, and it's like, no, we should embrace these new ideas and new things and new people who are different to us. We should just embrace all of it. We're all in this together. And seek to understand people who are different to you. We are a worldwide community. There are so many different kinds of people, and from all backgrounds, all cultures, all underrepresented, represented groups. There's so many people out there that you can get to know and learn how they live, what they do, why they communicate in certain ways, and just embrace yourself. Like, just be like, I want to understand people different to me. It's my most favorite thing to do. Like, I've been to India and I was like, I need to understand what, like, you all do so much work at such a fast pace, and like, I just wanted to understand everything and also enjoy, like, I enjoyed it. It was incredible. I was like, just take me to all the places, show me how you do things, all those things. And I do it in Europe too. Like, I text my mum when I'm at DrupalCon, I'm like, I'm at dinner with someone from America and like the Netherlands and like all the places. And my mum's like, what? It's like, yeah, I love doing this. I'm like, I ditched my team. I don't hang out with people you know at DrupalCon or wherever all the time. Hang out with different people. It is incredibly fun and like refreshing and amazing. And it's my favorite thing to do at events. But regardless of anything good or bad that happens, in terms of communication or whatever, just be respectful of other people. We're all on the same level. We're all human beings. Just be respectful. Treat other people how you would be treated. And also the other thing when I tell people is like, would your mum want to see you behaving like this? I always say that because I'm like, my mum wouldn't want, yeah, when I'm like, no, I need to behave. So always be respectful of others. Next section is interacting with others online. This is, yay. So one of the biggest points of this talk is your posts will actually be read by actual human beings. Sometimes people forget that when they're typing words on a screen, someone else will read it and will interpret it in whatever way they will. Like, miscommunication happens so much. Like, you could just be, I need to post this really quickly. And the other person will read it and be like, why are they being so blunt and sarcastic? And you just said, okay, that's fine. Like, things can happen. So just consider there are people on the other end and they will interpret your words in any way, whatever way, and just do it in the kindest way possible. So the first one is, some people find English really tricky. So when I was in South America, so many people were talking to me because I did a talk on how to get into contribution, and they were like, we're just struggling with the language barrier. Above everything, the language barrier is the biggest thing that we're struggling with. We don't feel comfortable writing in English. Sometimes we have no idea what people are saying because we have a tendency to overcomplicate things, like with grammar, with big words, with local phrases. I confuse Americans all the time when I say I'm just saying I'm tired, but I'm saying it in a way that like, what is this? What are you saying? And it's like, I'm tired. It's like, just say you're tired. It's like, okay, I will next time. I like my phrases though. Just keep everything really clear, very plain, very just like explain your working, have screenshots, like however, diagrams, however you can get the point across to someone, just do it. And just don't assume that people understand what you're like. Just be mindful that English may be someone's third language out there. It is. I've spoken to so many people who, it just blew my mind when I went to South America, also India. Other places, just all over the world, people are struggling. And a definite fact, people will piss you off. Regardless if they're being good or bad, you may get annoyed at something that someone has done, or someone made a mistake, or someone just irritated you. We're all human, it's all natural. We get annoyed at other people, and it's fine. But don't directly get annoyed at the person, especially if they've done something by accident, but it might not look like they've made a mistake, but they have. And then you've already like jumped on them like, why would you do that? Like, people do this, and I'm like, no, don't do this to the new people. So just take a deep breath, go vent to someone else. By all means, go vent and say, oh my God, I can't believe that person did that thing. And then come back and be like, hey, let's do it like this next time. So just accept, people will, yes. And rage posting never helps. So this follows on, like, just regardless of how you feel, if you want to rant about the project, the event, how things are going, how people are doing things, just don't, because it's just a long rambly thing that you see and you're like, oh, here they go again. Like, it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help yourself because someone or even the community working group will probably knock on your door and be like, hey, you might want to tone it down a little. And you don't want that. I don't want to do that to you. Like, just don't rage post, please. And in fact, someone might be mean to you and you didn't ask for it, you came out of nowhere. Like, conflict will happen, or someone will just, it happened to me once. I did nothing, like, I'm pretty sure I did nothing. I was so upset because it was like a well-known person. And I was like, what's happening? And people obviously piled in to defend me, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on right now. And then the person blocked me for a while, and then sent me an email 6 months later saying, I'm so sorry, I was having the worst time in my personal life, and it all just sort of crept into work, like contribution stuff. And I was like, it's fine. It was just a bit like dramatic and at the time. So someone might be mean to you. So accept this fact. There will be something out there. You may rile someone up by accident. You may just be a like standing person just being there, and it just comes at you and you're like, oh gosh. And the other thing is, someone may just sound like they're being mean to you. So there's this whole miscommunication thing where I read a comment that was feedback like aimed at me, and I was like, they're being so mean. Why are they being so mean to me? Maybe I shouldn't be a maintainer. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I'm underqualified. Like, they're being so mean. And I was like a bit like, everyone's like, what? You seem a bit off. What's wrong? And I'm like, this comment, read the comment. They're so mean. And they were like, So they haven't wrote it in the best way, but I think they're angry at the project overall, or where they are, where they're at. They're angry at the process, or something's going on with them, but they're kind of aiming it at you, but they're not aiming it at you. And I'm like, that makes it a little bit better. So you can take that situation and go support that person and be like, hey, how can I make your situation better? Rather than just being like, oh gosh, this is too much. And if you see other people in this situation, do jump in and help out and support other people and be like, hey, I think this is fine, like, or this is not okay, and just be mindful of other people's work and communication in the community. And you may upset someone or not realize, like, anything you say, like, someone could read it and be like, they're being so mean, why am I so upset? And they'll tell someone else to be like, yeah, look at it, they're being mean. And you were like, no, I wasn't. I was just being passionate about the project. I was just doing it for the good of the project. I wasn't being mean to you. No. So we have problems with the CWG where people don't accept they've done wrong, and we're not telling them off. It's like, next time maybe don't phrase it that way, and then people won't interpret it that way, and the world will go on, basically. So you may upset someone. I may have upset someone. I haven't heard back from them, but I probably have by accident. And please do report incidents to the CWG. Some people come up to me and like, oh, I wanted to report this, but I wasn't sure if I should. Like, if you see something going on in the community, or absolutely anything where you're like, it's probably not quite, this is not good, this is not great, it's good to tell us, because we can just make a note of it. Out of everything, we can just make a note of it for like the future. And it's really, really helpful for us, because there's 6 of us now? There's 6, woo! We expanded, and that's still not a huge coverage of visibility of the community. So if anyone in the community can help us out in any way and be sort of like champions for us as well, that would be really good. And supporting others. Check in with people, even if they appear completely fine. Humans are very, very, very good at covering up when they feel like shit, basically. So if people you're working with, friends in the community, anyone, just be like, hey, how's it going? And you never know, someone may turn around and be like, I'm having the worst possible thing in my life right now, and it's really hard to do this, it's really hard to carry on, I don't know quite how I'm carrying on right now. And you can step in and be like, I can help, or we can all help, or whatever. So appreciate the person and not just the work they do. People say things like, so how can I help you get more work done? Or how can I help the project move forward? Or how can I make it move faster? Or things like that. And it's like, that's not going to help the person. That's just going to make them think that they need to carry on working as hard as they are, or they need to work harder. And it's like, those phrases don't help. So just appreciate the person and be like, you're doing great. How can I help you? Like, is there any way I can help? Just aim it at the person and appreciate them. So like I said, what can I do to help you? And if they're like, no, I don't need any help. Having a terrible time, but I'm fine. This happened a few times. And I'm like, okay, I'm here if you need me. And then along the line, it could be however amount of time. So it's not long. And they'll be like, okay, I actually need your help. So I'll be like, let's do this. Let's get through this. And please, please, please don't give someone a hard time about their work. This happens as well. We get reports of this where someone is angry that someone didn't write a module a certain way, or they haven't included a feature, or they just get a bit like, why is this like this? And it's like, that person had a limited amount of time, a limited amount of ideas maybe, and they just built it the way they thought they should build it. And that's how it should be. And if you want to help, if you want to contribute, go back to them and be like, hey, have you thought about this feature? Is it in the roadmap? Could we add it? Can I come help out? Do you need a co-maintainer? Do you need someone to help you out, just help you out, basically. look at it like that, and it'll be a lot less pressure on the person. And remember that you were once a beginner too. Being a beginner isn't fun with anything, because you've got a lot of hard work, you get tired. It's like, how do I get into this thing, and how do I do this? And I want to be as good as that person, but I'm not there yet. And I spoke to lots of experienced contributors who are like, I was like, how was your first experiences with contribution? And they either pull a face, like a bat, like a face, make that noise, or they just say it was just really hard, like it just takes time. And if each of us in the community who's working on whatever we're working on gave up 5, 10, 15, 20% of their time to onboard a new person who will help you out and be very willing to help you out because they want to work on something that they find rewarding, we'll have so much new, fresh resources, ideas, fresh blood in the community. And we definitely need that. We are like, the experience level is like peaking at a triangle. Like there's so few very experienced contributors. And there's just a whole load of beginners who fall off the, like, they disappear. They don't get fully onboarded. We do it once for one day, and then we need to keep hold of them. We need to make them our mentees. Yes, like we need to keep hold of them, keep track of them, keep getting them onboarded, giving them work, helping them out. And give other people a ton of credit. Some people don't realize the achievements they are making. They don't think they're actually achievements. They're just, oh, this is a small, trivial thing. And it's like, no, you did a great thing. One of my favorite things about being, like doing code contribution and being a maintainer was telling people when they did their first contribution that they are amazing and they did a big achievement, how, like, it took so much work for them and they are great. And I used to just tweet them, like tweet their names, tell them they're great, get people to retweet, and they were like, I wasn't expecting this is incredible. And it's like, yeah, it is. And then they want to come and do more. And just give anyone a ton of credit. Like, the organizers here need so much credit. Event organization is not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of spare time. It's more work than your actual job at the time, around this time. So give people credit. It's great to tell someone when they've been great at something or they are great. And help others be heard. There are a lot of people who don't feel like they're good enough, or they just a bit scared about putting their views and opinions out there, and you may have heard or seen them or spoken to them, and they are great people, and they're just in the shadows, in the sidelines, and you're like, you need to bring their voices up, or help be the voice for them, or just make them come up. Like, we need new voices. It's not all about the rock stars, superstars in the community. We need everyone's voice to be heard, and give people courage and be that voice for them if they need it, because I meet so many amazing people in the community, and I was like, oh, you need to come help with this or do this, which leads to my next slide. Help provide opportunities to others. So if you know someone who'd be incredible at something, like a responsibility, being a maintainer, helping out with events, speaking at events, put them forward. Say, like, if it's speaking, be like, hey, I know the speaker, we need to ask them to come speak, because they might not submit a session themselves, and we miss so many opportunities like that. Like, I've been asked by a few camps to help with diversity, and I was like, sometimes people just don't feel strong enough. Like, there's someone else who is very good at the subject matter, always speaks at events about this. Like, someone will be like, oh, I can't, because that person will be picked. And it's like, no, we need to change this. We need to mix it up. We need to bring new people in, provide opportunities to people who aren't thinking that they can do it themselves. And we work in closed circles a lot of the time with people we know, and we just need to broaden the circle and bring new people in. And help provide those safe spaces for others. So if you see someone struggling or someone getting a lot of hassle or whatever, like we've had it recently where people who are strong enough to defend other people, protect other people, need to step up in this community. There's a lot of underrepresented people, a lot of people being challenged for various things, and we just need to provide those safe spaces. So even if it's just a Slack channel somewhere or whatever, just talk to the person, make sure they're okay, and everyone work together to make sure that these situations aren't happening and we're just protecting other people. And that's it. And I didn't drink any water. I didn't lose my voice. So these are all my resources are here. I was faffing about with what to do with this. This goes to a GitHub page with some links on. If you have any human type resources that I should read or watch or whatever, throw in I can't remember how I set up my repo, like try and put them in there somehow, or just tweet me them, because I love reading about this stuff and sharing this stuff, and yeah, I'm all about the human things at the moment, if you couldn't tell. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions that you don't want to say now, do tweet me, and I'm around today. Otherwise, fire them at me. I'm aware that I'm at 44 minutes and 51 seconds, which is out of 45. Thank you.